Well, good afternoon, and thanks everyone for being here. A great turnout. Lovely to be part of this GibTalks event, and thanks to Julian for that very kind introduction. Now, I chose the heading, "The Stage is My Oyster," because I thought it was a good way to encompass sort of who I am and the things that I do. Now, coincidentally, the original quote is Shakespeare's from the Merry Wives of Windsor. And although the meaning has changed over the years, it mainly focuses on someone having the ability, the freedom to do anything, to go anywhere. I like to think of it making the most of opportunities, of the things that come your way in life. If you've got that energy, if you've got that drive, anything can be possible. Now, if we look at the original quote, the subtext of pistol and full stop, there was actually a threat, a sword. That's actually been lost in the modern interpretation, and just for the record, no threat intended here. So I believe that if you work hard and are persistent enough, you might just find that oyster. And with a bit of muscle, you might just pry it open and even find a pearl. Who knows? So what has the stage done for me? Well, it's certainly helped me be the person I am today. I think it's shaped me, it's helped me grow, mature, given me endless possibilities. It's a place where I feel comfortable. I think I come alive. I can forget, I can escape. I can don any personality, put in a mask, and just about do anything. I've been lucky enough to call it my job. Obviously, through broadcasting, my love of amateur dramatics and the theatre, community projects, shows, being a mum, being a parent, each with its own demands and challenges, of course. Why the stage holds such an attraction, I'm not too sure, but it gives me that fire in the belly feeling. Today, I kind of had reservations about standing here and talking about my life, but the fire, the passion, that's what excited me, so I said yes. I think there was a defining moment, and I've got to take you back to when I was 7. There were pigtails involved, a blue and white pinafore dress, some red magic shoes, and a little dog called Toto. You've probably guessed it. I was cast as Dorothy in the story of Wizard of Oz. I was only 7, it was a school production, and it was a magical story, obviously, which was going to entice and charm me, taking me over the rainbow and beyond. There I was, a carefree youngster, arm in arm with a lion, Tin Man, and Scarecrow. But boy, was I in for some surprises. Of course it wasn't going to be golden bricks. There was going to be a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and all that in between. So I'd like to take you on my journey, my yellow brick road. And I'd like to begin with sunrises. See, I've seen some beautiful ones over the years, especially when I was part of the Radio Gibraltar breakfast team. 5:30 is when your alarm goes off. So there are some positives to that, though. Obviously, being one of the first voices that people wake up to is a real privilege. And part of the team, basically, we aim to inform, inspire, make you laugh, draw you in, feel at home. And how do we do that? Well, we like to share our experiences with you. Make you think, make you laugh. And I remember on one occasion, I drew on one of my experiences as a mum. It was a segment on toddler antics. And the story goes like this. I was in my utility room, hanging up the washing, and I think my son, Aidan, who's in the audience today, he was about 2.5 years old, he decides to lock Mummy in the utility room. I still remember the click of the door, and then that was it. After that, all I heard was my son sobbing his eyes out because he couldn't open the door again. So through a door, I was trying, as a mum, your instinct, to soothe him, calm him down, telling him everything was okay. But he was in a panic. He thought he'd done something awfully bad. And I could hear him on the sofa, crying in between muffles. Well, by this stage, obviously, it alerted half the neighbors. And, tried to communicate to them what the best solution would be to try and get my son to open the door, which wasn't physically possible. So my neighbor decided, what if I go to your front door, knock, and get Aidan to open the door? And after a lot of toing and froing, my husband had to be fetched in the end. I think he was actually doing some exercise around the area. So after hearing a familiar voice, Aidan opened the front door. I was released, panic averted, and here I am to tell the tale. And of course, I had a great story to share with the audience, and that's what we like to do. You know, we like to share our lives and draw you into it, because I'm sure perhaps whilst you were listening to that, you already thinking about experiences that you've had as parents, grandparents, aunts, and so on. So mornings on breakfast, well, things have changed over the years, but I think one thing remains constant: the need for coffee. It's a must. It's the only way you're going to survive as part of those early wake-up calls. And of course, nowadays, the listener, very much part of a club. We've got that interaction, and it's something that we really thrive on. So the Yellow Brick Road, it glows and shines, but it has its hurdles. Of course it does. It's got its moments of overgrowth, the darkness, the winding roads, the forest areas. Okay, in broadcasting, the excitement, it comes with its stresses. We've got those difficult stories to write, the sensitive ones. We've got the deadlines, the daily ones, throughout the day, of course, and yet sometimes we really cut it fine. There's also the challenges these days of adapting scripts. We work in a tri-media environment, so we've got radio, TV, online, and then there's the live element, another of its appeals. Here we're relying on a vast team to get the show on the road. And let me tell you, our broadcasts are very professional affairs. But years back, we really had to rely on a lot of luck for our links. No earpieces, not knowing perhaps what the other presenter had just said. But we always delivered. So what keeps me skipping along the Yellow Brick Road in search for my Emerald City? I think for me, it's the link with the community. That really is very much part of who I am. And my job means I get invited to be part of people's lives and stories, and that's a real privilege. I get to share in their experiences, and they allow me to be their mouthpiece for them. It really is an honor. So in the newsroom, we get to cover a whole array of subjects, and we've got some amazing opportunities. Of course, we've got the day-to-day stories, the politics, a lot of interesting international guests, thanks to the Literary Festival and the GMF. But sometimes, you know, it's not the famous people that really do it. For me, it's those personal, intimate interviews that really touch you. I remember one in particular, speaking to a lady who'd benefited from the GBC Open Day Fund through the charity, the Community Association charity. And this is a charity that supports the sponsored patient scheme. Now, her husband, unfortunately, had been diagnosed with cancer, and she'd had to travel to the UK for a very extensive period while he was undergoing treatment. Obviously, it was extremely hard for her, but not only emotionally and psychologically, but also financially. She had 3 very young children, which she had to support. Over the months, she lost her job. Her employer could no longer support her. And what happened was she had to be basically maintaining 2 households, her children here, and of course, being that shoulder as well for her husband in the UK. So she was willing to relive her hardships. She was willing to bear all on TV in a small community like Gibraltar, because she was so grateful to the community, to the GBC Open Day Fund, because it had really served in that really dark moment for her. It had been the light at the end of the tunnel. She shed tears, and she was willing to bear all so that others could also benefit. See, her tears really got to me, and it's those stories that really make a difference, those moments when people open up to you. And of course, as an interviewer, you have to know how to best steer things to get the best out of the person, but always being respectful. That, for me, is extremely important as well. So a story of hope, and what better way to link to my next segment? Now, this was an experience that I felt really strongly I had to share, as it's one that's going to rate as a summit moment, for lack of a better expression. I recently witnessed the birth of my nephew. And although I'm blessed with a beautiful boy, an experience that obviously I will always treasure, my own labor, thanks to gas and air and all of that, was a long delivery and a little foggy. So the moment that baby Rylan took his first breath will also rate as one of my life moments. It was a beautiful experience, and one that I will always cherish and hold dear. emotional, agonizing. The word labor means hard work. And those of you who've lived it will know exactly what I mean. But that intense effort results in a miracle. The process is truly overwhelming, one of pure elation and joy, and it still moves me talking about it. So I've got to thank my sister for allowing me to be part of his introduction to the world and sharing in the miracle of life. I'm certain I will continue to be part of the rest of his life. So I refer to the community, and another great aspect of Gibraltar is its charitable nature, something I'm proud to celebrate. This is when the road is great to travel. This is when you feel the sun in your face, you're surrounded by friends. And the open day is the best example, a phenomenon itself. And this year, surpassing all records, £144,000. Now, we're talking about a community of 30,000 individuals. How this is possible is beyond me at times. And this is what I love about Gibraltar. And of course, I love being a part of the team that helps contribute and make it happen. Now, opportunities, there have been many along my road. The road's been good to me most of the time. Broadcasting and theatre really are the perfect avenues in which to draw attention to many things. It's given me the opportunity as well to highlight topical issues. My amateur dramatic involvement, for example, allowed me to delve into a controversial one, that of domestic violence, and basically highlight the situation here. Strong was a project that I undertook with Santos Productions, where our efforts helped raise funds for the Women in Need shelter. It was hard-hitting and pleasant to experience, watch, and to hear from those who were unfortunately in that situation or had been. But the intensity of it all aimed to send the sad message home that things like that actually exist here. For me, it was just a role, but for others, a reality. As you travel along the road, of course, you get many hurdles. We heard from Tiffany earlier, who I thought was extremely brave, because dark moments, I think we've all had in our lives. Not as bad as Tiffany, but I can tell you I've had moments of grayness where you think you're carrying that cloud over your shoulder. So how did I beat those dark moments? Well, this is where exercise has played a part, believe it or not. That feel-good factor, the letting go, you know, getting rid of that stress and anxiety. And a few years back, I decided to get fit, to get tough. And I undertook a triathlon, only a short one, the one that they do here in Gibraltar, but for me, it was a big deal. 3 months of training, double sessions. At the time, I was doing breakfast, and I used to get up at 6 in the morning to fit in the run before work, so everything's possible. But it was very liberating. And basically, I had to learn how to swim. I got on the bike and really enjoyed it. To this day, exercise plays a big part of my life. And nowadays, you'll probably see me in many of Gibraltar's football pitches, because little Aidan over there, who loves playing football, drags me, and I enjoy it. He's footy mad, and well, we've got a good thing going on there. So from the more intimate in radio to a very different setting in TV. News, community shows, entertainment. I've been involved in plenty over the years, from debating topical issues to presenting live broadcasts. I've produced health and fitness series, been involved in Soundtrack of My Life. I've even traveled to the Shetland Islands as part of the Island Games coverage. I've tried my luck at hairdressing, wasn't very good at it. Done the Christmas surprises, and I've even had my photo plastered on the back of the bus as part of the radio team. So some great moments, and only possible through the support of fantastic friends and family, and of course that extended team that I call the extended family that are my colleagues. This is where I have to thank Mum and Dad and my husband Derek for always being there for me and supporting me. And I have to say that it's only possible as well through the Lion, because the Lion helps me put on the brave face. He helps me face my fears. He pushes me when I really need that motivation, makes me reach my goals. The Scarecrow advises me when I reach any crossroads. He's a great way of viewing the world, always comes up with solutions. The Tin Man, kind and sensitive soul, he's got a different perspective, because not everything in life is black and white. And then there are the green people, those who help and inspire with their beauty and kindness. Yes, there are wicked witches and monkeys and the rest, and my days as sweet and simple Dorothy are long gone, but I hope to have kept part of her sprightly nature and energy. And like Dorothy, I'd like to think that I live in the present, making the most of what comes my way. I've just got one more thing to say. As I skip along, not knowing what the future may bring, I can tell you about one thing that remains constant in my life. I'll never stop wishing that I was somewhere over the rainbow, and I hope that you get there too. Thank you.